Coming up on this week's news, the trade is warned over changes to the official advice on outdoor electrical installations. The authorities give the green light to cross-pavement EV charging in London, and a teenager is in a serious condition after receiving an electric shock on a farm in Yorkshire. Welcome to Electrical News Weekly, whether you're listening in the van, on site or down at the wholesale counter. I'm Joe Robinson and I've been through the best of the electrical industry news to save you the trouble. This week, the recording studio is being powered by our friends over at Consumer Unit World. They've got over 40 years of online selling experience, high stock levels of your favourite consumer units, including BG, and they offer free next-day working delivery on orders over £150 and love to hear from their customers. So if you're stuck with a project, give them a call and speak to a real person. And this week's Challenge Word competition is supported by the good people at Viperclip, the lightweight, incredibly rapid way to secure your cables on a first fix. Click the link in the show notes to get your hands on yours. So if you think you've spotted the two words that I've been challenged to slip into this week's show, strike like a viper and comment with them below for the chance to win a prize. You'll find links in the show notes to both of these great brands. With the music festival season in full swing, the sound of summer isn't the cuckoo anymore, it's the low rumble of portable generators. Those generators are increasingly being connected to battery storage, solar and other renewables. It's not just that festival organisers are going green, they've discovered that running diesel generators on low loads often results in unexpected shutdowns. That's because the exhaust temperatures don't get hot enough for the emissions filters to work effectively. Using battery storage in parallel, however, allows the generator to work hard for shorter durations and brings the exhaust temperature up, fixing the problem. But this proliferation of complex temporary electrics has brought new dangers, prompting the authors of the wiring regs to step in with changed advice on best practice. In a newly updated version of its Guide to Temporary Electrical Systems, the IET says electricians need to urgently focus on the earthing of such hybrid arrangements. That's because they're susceptible to circulating currents. These are unintended flows between two or more power sources via their interconnected neutral or earthing conductors. It's not part of the normal load current. They occur if each source shares a common neutral or earth but has a slightly different voltage reference. As a result, current flows through the earth or neutral conductors between sources even when no load is connected. The IET spells out the necessary earthing advice in its advisory. Another key aspect with battery systems is their performance under fault conditions. The organisation warns that many inverters won't deliver the current needed to trip the protective devices, so managing protection for faults requires much more diligence. The updated guide costs £55 for non-members, and I've put a download link in the show notes. In other news, the authorities have given the green light to cross-pavement EV charging in London. The move follows national government endorsement of the concept, which it's backing up with a £25 million cash incentive. Now the representative body for the capital's local authorities, London Councils, has published its long-awaited guidance on the issue. The individual boroughs have been cautious about allowing electricians to install these couloirs for cables in public pavements. That's because they're worried about the risk of electrocution. If a person comes into simultaneous contact with a charging vehicle and other conductors such as a street lamp, column or a second charging vehicle, and if the two electrical circuits are on separate earthing system and there's an earth or neutral fault, then there's a risk. To mitigate this, the IET suggests a minimum 2.5 metre exclusion zone between electrical supplies on separate earthing systems and potential conductors. Installers can also consider the use of protective earth and neutral devices which can detect and prevent faults. However, London councils admit that it's challenging to completely eliminate all risks. It says local authorities need to decide what they view as acceptable at a local level. London councils estimates that electrical contractors will charge between £850 and £3,000 for a cross-pavement install. I've put a download link to the free guidance document in the show notes. The risk of electrocution was underscored this week after a teenager was left in a serious condition after receiving an electric shock on a farm in Yorkshire. The boy was airlifted to hospital by helicopter from a field in Stokesley. North Yorkshire police say that two men aged 47 and 71 have been arrested in connection with the incident and remain in custody for questioning. Pictures of the scene showed a police van beside a combine harvester, which apparently had been cutting grain. The health and safety executive says it's aware of the incident and its investigators are liaising with police. More guidance has landed this week, this time on secondary low voltage supplies. It follows intense lobbying from electrical contractors who have long argued that it's been a nightmare to apply for multiple low-voltage supplies in buildings such as hospitals and high-rise residential. This is because you have to deal with the multitude of operators which manages the UK electrical distribution system. Additionally, there's often big inconsistencies in the guidance between them. Now, the Energy Networks Association has published an advisory which the Electrical Contractors Association says brings much-needed clarity and consistency. It will help the trade to manage the risks of multiple connections in close proximity, including diesel generators. Dubbed Engineering Recommendation G94, the guidance document is free to download, and I've put the link in the show notes. Now, welcome to our Electrical News Weekly feature where we focus on a specific product area. This week we're staging a coup by taking over lighting controls. First up is Kosnic, which has just published a catalogue detailing its growing family of Evolve 7 products. The range includes PIR, motion and daylight sensors, all controlled by a single universal remote control. The unit features 16 position dip switches, so you can configure a variety of functions such as dimming, dusk to dawn, daylight harvesting, and even corridor functions. It has a long detection range of 16 metres and a security feature which means that a sensor can be paired and locked to a certain remote. Kosnic has a wide range of standalone sensor options. These include exterior PIRs as well as exterior daylight and recessed motion sensors. The brand also offers a range of add-on sensors which you can connect to their surface and linear luminaires, as well as its high bay and low bay lights. And everything, and we mean everything, can be controlled by the single remote control. Prolojik is currently marketing a range of smart sensors which connect to its lighting control system and which deliver insights into how a building is used. As well as occupancy, daylight, environment and motion sensing, the Proxima Plus sensors use Bluetooth to facilitate wireless communication between luminaires. This in turn allows the system to do advanced tasks such as counting people, monitoring access and tracking assets. The sensors can also check illumination, temperature, humidity, carbon dioxide and VOCs. This data can help building managers to run their properties more efficiently. You connect up to 60 multi-sensors back to each hub using Cat6 cables. The hubs provide both power and networking over a single cable and allow sensor data to be connected to Prolojik's building-wide infrastructure. The company says the consolidated approach not only simplifies installation but provides consultants and architects with the ability to design clean, elegant spaces. The Proxima Plus sensors can also integrate into building management systems using industry-standard protocols such as MQTT and BACnet. Prolojik will be showing its high-tech range at next month's Circular Lighting Live exhibition and conference in London on Thursday the 25th of September. Cucumber Lighting Controls has unveiled a switch interface unit which enables up to 5 switches to connect wirelessly to its range of PIR and microwave sensors. By using Bluetooth, it significantly reduces the need for wiring between devices. The unit cuts installation time, material usage and other costs such as chasing in and post-install repairs. It comes in both mains and battery-powered versions, both of which are small enough to fit behind a switch plate. It can be installed as much as 30 metres away from the nearest sensor. Programming is easy, you simply use the free app. As well as being intuitive, it allows you to do things like assign switches to specific groups of luminaires and customise lighting behaviour. All products are made in the UK and backed by a 7-year warranty. Congratulations are also due to Cucumber this week. The company has just been nominated for a Build Back Better award for its microwave sensors. The units detect movement based on wave reflections and offer high sensitivity and extended detection ranges. They operate in the so-called K-band, better known as 24 GHz, which avoids Wi-Fi interference completely. This eliminates false triggering, avoids signal degradation, and delivers superior detection range. The sensors feature intelligent signal analysis and premium components and offer a detection area of 34 metres by 6 metres. A pioneering learning mode allows the sensor to adapt to its environment. By recognising and filtering out repetitive, non-threatening movement, it minimises false triggers and maximises energy efficiency and occupant comfort. That's our Electrical News Weekly roundup of products or people that we think deserve some attention. Next time we're going green with power, renewables and solar. Now it's that great moment where we get to celebrate the sterling work being done by the next generation. Our learner of the week is Matt Telford, who's a bit different to our usual youngsters. That's because Matt has taken the scenic route to the electrical trade. He spent many years in management roles before making the bold decision to retrain as an electrician. He took the electrical improver route, went back to college and has just messaged us to say he's passed his AM2 with distinction. What a brilliant achievement. You'll know that the AM2 is the final piece in the puzzle, the endpoint assessment that proves occupational competence. Matt's inspirational story shows that it's never too late to follow your heart and do what you really want to do. So if you don't see me here next week, it's because I finally did that course on writing romantic novels. Script right away there, just assuming that I'll read anything that appears on the teleprompter. Correctly, it seems. And just before we get to your favourite bit of the show, where I reveal last week's challenge words and winners, we want to thank our premium partners. We couldn't make the news without you. First up, they're the people who've created the Swiss Army knife of solar inverters, along with all-weather batteries. Very much the Boy Scouts of the solar industry, it's Sunsync. And empowering their customers to harness power through light with their intelligent energy solutions, solar technology and advanced lighting systems, it's Ledvance. With their new award-winning Lumo consumer unit and offering complete product support from their highly trained team, it's CP&Qdis. And with over 5,000 product lines from heating, lighting, ventilation to wiring accessories, if you need it, they've got it. It's electrical distributor CED Group. And the best thing to come out of Yorkshire since stainless steel, the home of EV Ultra and other groundbreaking and quality products. It's Doncaster Cables. Click the links in the show notes to find out more about these great brands. If you think you know the words that I've smuggled into this week's show, pop your guess into the comments. We'll take all the correct guesses and select one at random to be the winner of an eFix goodie bag prize. Answers submitted after about lunchtime on the Thursday after release will not be entered into the draw. Now let's reveal the winner of last week's challenge word competition in association with Viperclip. Don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get hold of yours at a brilliant price and start saving loads of time on your first fix. Last week's words were Minecraft and Malteser. The latter gave rise to a debate almost as furious as the one surrounding single insulation in meter cupboards, when I pointed out they're the best revel, with some cretinous individuals suggesting that toffee or even coffee were the best. Over on LinkedIn, our completely impartial business account settled the matter by rendering judgment in my favour. And, would you believe it, one team member, who shall remain Gordon, nameless, kept accessing the account and changing the judgment to support himself. Shocking behaviour. Anyway, back to the challenge words. The winner, who was plucked from our electronic hat, was Mike Mart. So well done to you, Mike. Make sure you click the Get Involved link in the show notes to claim your prize. This week, the recording studio has been powered by our friends over at Consumer Unit World, with their 40 years of online selling experience, high stock levels of great brands like BG, free next day working delivery on orders over £150, and exceptional customer support. They're worth checking out at the link in the show notes. Thanks for listening to this episode of Electrical News Weekly. Make sure you subscribe to receive the next update. Thanks for listening, and until next time, have a great week. Stay safe out there, and remember, there's no such thing as a torque calibrated arm.